Hello, my name is Jefferson Aldridge from Giving is Good. Today we have Pastor Cheryll Wallace with us. She has been a friend of mine for several years. We have been involved at Church on the Slab, which is a church that helps the homeless in downtown Fort Worth, off of Rosedale. All right, so just in case anybody local that is here that's looking at the video and wondering where that is, Church on the Slab has been operating off of Rosedale and 35 for how many years?
20, the legacy, and then it's a new beginning. And that's where we're at now, the new beginning.
The new beginning, okay. So what we want to do today with Pastor Cheryll is we want to show you and give you a piece of her heart so that if you decide that you have a heart for the homeless, or if you wake up on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning or a weeknight and you go, man, I really just want to go help somebody, you can go to Church on the Slab and you can help anybody. And I tell people when they ask me about Church on the Slab, because we've been involved with them for so long, they say, okay, well, what can I do? All right, and I don't know if you've ever heard me say this, but I say, if you have one sock to give, then save it, put it in a bag, we'll take it to Church on the Slab. Pastor Cheryll will find somebody to give that one sock to. I promise, no joke. Somebody will walk down the road, they'll walk into the building, they'll knock on the door, and they'll be like, hey, I need some socks. One has a hole, one doesn't. And then she'll give them the one sock and get rid of the one that has a hole. That's a true story. Those things happen down there. So, Pastor Cheryll, tell us a little bit about how you got your start. How did you get to become the pastor of Church on the Slab? Give people your story. Tell them a little bit about who you are, what you've been doing. You know, just kind of walk them through the basics so that they know that, hey, there's somebody, I like what she's saying. I identify with who she is as a human, and I think I want to go help. I think I want to give some money. I think I want to give my time. Help them see that. Tell us how you got your start.
Well, my start is how other people can get started, listening to the Lord.
Okay.
And then I lived in Montana. I raised my children in Montana. And my pastor had moved away, and a friend came, and he took me to this church, this pastor that was coming back to Kalispell, Montana. This man, and now I understand it, being a pastor, said, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this, but in obedience, I'm going to. And he stopped the service, and he walked over in front of me, and he prophesied. When I say I was but a whisper, I was going through my own problems. I was beat up. I was emotionally a wreck. I had but a whisper in my voice. And he came over and prophesied to me, Isaiah 63, 1-3, saying that, he said, many would come to the church because of you, through you. He said that beauty for ashes for the poor, that was going to help the poor. And he said, a microphone will not be foreign to you.
Wow.
I said, you know, I have a speech impediment called dyslexia, that sometimes I can't pronounce words. And it does. I didn't say that to him, but I'm talking to the Lord like this. What do you mean, a microphone? Well, it went from that to I had heard in my spirit that I was going to leave Montana, but I was doing it with a stomp. Leave Montana? Are you kidding me? I come from a large family. I've never gone anywhere by myself. And God got me on a plane to come to Texas this way. A lady that I helped come to Texas had my resume on her computer. The only thing left on there was my resume. She started working for Roy Gray Daily Bread Ministry, which was the prior owner to Church on the Slab.
Right.
And I called her and I said, somebody's doing something with my resume. And she said, I'll find out. This man had a gift of faith, and he started prophesying that I was coming from Montana, Cheryl, Lynn, Wallace, was coming from Montana to serve in this new facility, this new building down at I-35 in Rosedale, where we had services outside Church on the Slab.
Mm-hmm. How long ago was that?
That was 1999, February 1999.
1999. And tell everyone Church on the Slab means something. Tell them what that means, because that explains when you say having church outside.
Yes.
Tell them about that.
Well, when we were having church outside, it was more mission type thing, and people were hearing the gospel and they got saved. But Roy Gray at that time was saying, go find a church. And people kept coming back. And the street people have their own language. They call things with their own names and their own terms. Mm-hmm. And everything's a slab, everything's a concrete to them. So they'll say, go to this slab for this reason, go to this slab, and they're giving coats or food. But when they came to I-35 in Rosedale, they told everybody they were going to church on the slab.
Because they were physically going to a church service, or because people were helping them and ministering to them and feeding them?
Well,
what all were y'all doing there?
Oh, this is a good question. We were feeding. We had 3 lines. We were serving hundreds of people at the time. It was so big of a food ministry at the time. But when the salvation started and the people were getting touched and they were told to go somewhere else, nobody would take them. And not only would not anybody take them, they didn't want to go.
Because they felt at home.
They felt at home.
Yeah. What do you think the number one reason is why the other areas, or the other, I don't know, whoever serves the poor, the homeless in that area, why didn't they want to take them in your thought process?
My thoughts are that we have a lot of missions around the area, and thank God we do. And they're still feeding programs and clothing, and they'll bring in the gospel, but that's not their primary. Here at Church on the Slab, it's about the gospel, and then it's not a mission, but it's a church with a mission, where we include the clothing and the food and the counsel and the help that they need.
Are y'all meeting basic needs for people who don't have a toothbrush? Are you feeding people on a daily basis? Or are you meeting just spiritual needs? Explain to everybody what it is that you're doing on a daily basis. What's a Monday look like at Church on the Slab?
Well, you can't meet a spiritual need without caring about the individual.
That's right.
And seeing where you can help. So we have Bible studies, and we have church on Sunday, and we do the fellowship meal. We don't call it a program. We give clothes out, but it's not just giving clothes out. We used to take it by order, like you were at a restaurant and take an order, and they got filled with their name. And it's not about standing in line. They sit down and take their orders. Now we've graduated to, hey, you've done this for a while. Now we're going to bring you back 2 by 2, and you get to shop for yourself.
Right. So in your clothing facility, you're bringing them in, treating them like humans, treating them like people.
Yes.
Giving them the opportunity. You're not just saying, hey, here's what you get. You're letting them shop for themselves.
Yes.
Right? They're picking out their shoes. They're picking out their shirts. They're picking out their jeans.
Yes.
They're picking out their underwear.
That's right. That's right. Yes.
And then are they also picking out hygiene products?
Yes.
How important is that?
And you know what's important about that? In our hygiene kits, we have different groups that come down every Sunday, and they serve giving out clothes, and they serve in the kitchen. But in the hygiene kits comes the natural things. You think about toothpaste, like you said, maybe deodorant, and on. But guess what's in there?
What?
Toilet paper.
Toilet paper. Is toilet paper important?
Because they have to go to the restroom wherever they're at.
Yeah.
And it's not saying that there's going to be toilet paper in that facility.
That's right.
And so we add the toilet paper because it meets the basic needs that people don't think of.
Yep.
And so Church on the Slab, even with the thought of the toilet paper, is to be aware and care about the basic needs of people, but do it in dignity of, hey, we see you, we understand you, and here we're going to add something to that.
And we're going to treat you humanly.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Do you think people are afraid to get involved with homeless people?
I'm glad you asked that, because almost everyone that comes down to Church on Slab at first come down with the idea that they're going to help someone. But part of the serving is to come and be part of the service. Mm-hmm. And now all of a sudden you're holding hands and touching people that somebody just asked you, are you safe down there?
Yep.
Are you okay?
Yep.
And then our congregation is so gracious and they get loved on so much. I'm not saying there's not cons in there. Sometimes
Sure.
We watch out for that and we protect
there's
people
cons
too.
everywhere.
Yeah,
right.
right. So I mean, yes, I like that you said that. It's real life there.
Yeah.
And so when everybody comes in and now all of a sudden they're holding hands and they're serving the same God, no matter what your circumstances are, there's a different light put on that, because everybody sees each one at the place they're at. Some places are backwards to what you're at and maybe forward, and all of a sudden you're one, knitting the body of Christ in a oneness for the Lord.
Can any church come get involved with you, or does it have to be a Catholic church? Does it have to be a Baptist church? Tell everybody, tell the viewers what is possible. Because right now they're watching your video and they're going, well, I don't know, what if I can't go down there and help, or what if there's nothing that I can do? Give them an idea of what they can do to come down and help you.
This question is really important too, because it's a faith walk down there. It's a faith walk. We set the table and sometimes we don't know who's going to do the food. There's certain Sundays that are covered, and right now that can change in a minute because people will do it for a season.
Yeah.
So there's always an opening. We never turn anybody away. We want hands-on. People enjoy doing something hands-on, not just giving money and not knowing where it's going. Mm-hmm. We have a bill pay that's up on the board that says adopt a bill. They can see exactly where their money's going. We don't solicit anything. It's all faith, and people get to look around and do what they want. So all churches come, because like I used the word, knitting the body of Christ together. It's not about your denomination. It's about Jesus.
There you go. It's about everybody coming together, working for one common cause,
Yes.
one thought process,
Yes.
right? People giving their time. People can give money. Can you use money at Church on the Slab?
Well, I can tell you there's times that I've been down to like $30 in my account, but the bills kept coming in.
It's amazing, isn't it?
And every month they get paid, and we just get to glory God all the time.
Do you think in what you do every day, do you think the needs will ever be met? Or do you think you will always need people to come and donate time and money?
Oh, they'll never be totally met, because he said the poor will always be with us.
That's right.
But here's the difference. The key thing, and I said it once, I'm going to say it again, we're not a mission. We're a church with a mission, so that the Lord and the Gospels always emphasize, so people can come, not just the people around the Metroplex, but the people in our church are growing up to be who they are. I started that church with 0 staff. I didn't have other people put in place for anything. God has supplied each position. People from out of prison, people from the street,
Homeless people
prostitutes,
that have grown up
everything that have
in the
come
church.
up and decided that they have a place where they can serve God, and that's what healed them, that's what's touching them, that's what's changing them.
Amazing, right?
Yes.
You get to see incredible things happen in people's lives.
Constantly. I'm
Right.
getting goosebumps right now.
Okay, so how hard is it to be a female pastor on the streets in Fort Worth?
That is really...
Do you know any other ones?
That's a really great question, because even in my own congregation, it's non-denominational, but it's also not any given race. And some people come in with these other denominational type ideas. Oh, you can't preach, you're a woman. Oh, you're going to get this race to listen to you? They're not going to. No, they don't have to, and they won't. But when you listen to the Lord, pretty soon they'd call me sister. They'd call me other names before the sister part. They'd call me this or that, and they choose now to call me pastor because they've seen God work. I didn't have to prove anything. I just had to show up and do what he asked me to do.
They respect you because you love them.
Yes, yes, and I love them
back. Would you agree with that?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
Having known you for long enough and hearing some of the struggles, and I truly respect you. She's around rough people.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Now, I don't want anybody to be scared of that.
No.
You know, but there are so many people that need help. Anything is possible in that environment. Okay? And it's what we want to be able to explain to people is that anyone can go to church on the Slab, take one sock, take $5, take $1. Pastor Cheryl can use it, right?
Right.
You can help somebody with it. They can give their time, their money. They can give both. She can use anything you can give them, right? Anything that y'all can bring to church on the Slab, she can use. What do you think the future holds for Church on the Slab? What do you think is possible in the future? And will you tell the audience about the one thing that makes you more different than anyone is your membership?
Yes.
What no one understands is that she runs a church that has a membership for the homeless community to be a part of the church and have a membership. Will you tell them real quick about that?
Yes, we have all the different types of people that come to service. And the Lord had told me to change it from being a homeless church to that we embrace the homeless, and they embrace us back.
Yeah.
And it's called a haven of rest. We have a fellowship hour before church. In our church, they're waiting outside to get in, not just because of what we're providing only, because they're ready to come in. And that hour's rest before we start church, they're up dancing to the music we have, singing unto the Lord, and preparing themselves for the rest of the service. It's not a 1 hour service. It goes for probably 2+.
Yeah.
But that's because we have a really awesome praise, and they get to praise. We're not singing at anybody. Our church is the chorus. They're the dancers. They're the ones that come up and get to be a part of every part of this. And I mentioned prostitute, and you can't talk this way sometimes in churches. We have, everybody wears their problems on their sleeve, including me. I get to be me, and I let everybody know I need Jesus just like you do. So it's not about perfect, it's about sanctification as we go. And here's the deal. Oh, you're going to let a prostitute get up? I'm thinking of this one lady, and I probably couldn't say her name, but she get to come up and sing because she has a beautiful voice. Do you know the singing is changing her life?
Wow.
She is praising God, and the people know what she does.
Mm-hmm.
She's the best panhandler there is around there.
Mm-hmm.
And they go, how can you let her sing and then she'll go out and panhandle still? I said, because I know the word won't go void.
That's right.
She's doing her part, and she'll do more.
And God will make a difference in her.
Yes.
He will change her.
And he's using her to change others.
Yeah.
One of the persons that come from the fire department on one of the Saturdays that serve there, he is so elated to know some of the people from when he first came, and he sees them getting involved. He's beside himself. And when she got up there and she did a dance, a mime type dance. I don't like miming so much, but a dance, a reverent spiritual dance to this song. People come and go, during the service, and they move around. I saw people coming in the door. They stopped in their tracks. He could have jumped over that service table just to get close to her because the Spirit of God was on her and it moved and touched lives.
Interesting. So God moves in church.
Yes.
God moves in that community. God moves with those members.
And the members, I'm glad you brought that up. We've had a situation where our church was going to close. And I could have fought it legally in some ways, to tell you the truth. But that's not what I was to do. God said, take a stand. And he said, don't move one thing out. And in that period, just like you're saying about people being aware and coming alongside, we're still there.
Yeah.
And that's because that's how he works with us and everybody else too. And the card carrying, we were covered on the news because of the shutdown before Easter. And the good thing about that is I said, look, even if we do have to leave, they go, oh, you can get another building, you could get another place. No, we can't. We're territorial. The people we have are territorial, just like anybody else. And that's their church. If it closed, it closed.
And they're a member of that church.
They're a member.
That's their church home, no different than where I go to church. Right?
They're a card-carrying member, and that's the part I was getting to when the news media covered. I said, if we close, I just want one thing. Once before, in those beginning days that you asked me about, when Roy Gray died in Honduras on a service mission, that church stayed open for a little while, and it closed. And I said, Lord, you showed me that you wanted a church. But he closed down church services held by a lot of different people to getting our attention in faith to say, we're going to have a church inside.
Wow.
And I go, when I got my 501(c), I said, what do I call this? Well,
Church
there's
on the
no
Slab.
other name. And sometimes I'm a little strange when people go, what? But what that adheres to is now they're members. And when the media came to talk to me about it, I said, I just want people to know that this place is different than the last time this place closed, and they scattered like cockroaches. I'm not calling names of people, but they went everywhere and they lost something significant to them and no one knew.
Right.
And I said, I just want them to know that by you covering this, that they're card-carrying members. This isn't about being poor. Yes, they have circumstances, we all do. Card-carrying members of a church that's changing lives.
Wonderful.
Not the building. Not the building. Jesus Christ.
There you go. Well, thank you so much for coming out and kind of telling us about what it is that you do, how you do it, the community that you help, the people that you help on a daily basis since the 90s, right? You're not new to this.
No,
right?
We pastored this for 14 years. When we brought it inside, it's 14 years. And you say about how could people help? It is about recognizing, coming together and serving together. Do your part. If you can cook, if you want to bring food, we do that each holiday. It become not a Thanksgiving meal. It's a family situation, and people from all over. We set the table and the food comes in, and it comes from each person that you say can bring something.
It's amazing,
It's a
right?
potluck, and that potluck is available every Sunday if you want to get involved. The clothing room, we give out and deplete that almost every week. It's needed constantly.
But then more clothes and more shoes
Yes,
and boots.
every time.
And hygiene, everything
Yes.
keeps coming back.
Yes, it does.
It just keeps showing up.
And it doesn't look that way, but that's why we're talking. You, the people, make
Yeah.
the difference. The people who have that same heart that our congregation has to come together in a oneness and serve right where you can.
Awesome. Well, I am so thankful that you do what you do. Just so you know, there's a lot of people that are fearful of the homeless. And until they go down and experience the homeless, they don't understand how easy it is to help. So thank you so much. We love you. We appreciate you. If anyone can give, there will be a link after our video that goes to Church on the Slab. You can give directly to Pastor Cheryl and all the things that she does. You can donate your time, your money, or both. Giving is good. Thank you so much.
Yes.